JayaShri, JayaShri, JayaShri. සියලු දෙනාට සියලු සැනසීම යහපත වේවා. May there be all goodness and well-being in everyone's life. I wish you all the well-being and good things. Thank you. So, I believe you see and hear me clearly. All right, you're seeing and hearing me clearly. Wonderful. So thank you for tuning in to the first live FB training to understand about our own mind, how to be happy and healthy. Maybe you are not very happy at present moment or at present times in your life. Or maybe you are thinking that I'm not happy. There are two different things. Or perhaps you're already very happy about your life, about yourself. You know how to be happy. You know how not to be unhappy. But you like to still learn more about how to be happy and healthy. Hello Yashodaran, thank you for tuning in. Hello Dilhani, JayaShri, much love and blessings to all. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to basically remove the messages from my screen so I can totally concentrate my energy to transmit this message to all of you who are tuning in at the exact right time. I'm very happy that you tuned in at the right time. It's a different thing listening to me later on through a video recording to seeing and hearing and even feeling what I'm saying real time. So it's a big deal. It's a good thing you're tuning in real time. You can be very happy right now. Okay? I said something good, isn't it? I said something positive. So you can be very happy right now. Okay. So all put silent mode, and I had removed the messages from the screen so that I can concentrate totally my energy into the message that I'm transmitting. So this is how it's going to be from today onwards, and for the next coming 3 to 4 weeks. I'll be dedicating this time, an hour, to share my message with the world with love and respect and in kindness. We want more and more people to be happy and healthy. We want it. If there's anything in my life I have experienced as something good, I always wanted every other human being that I know to have the same. I always wanted it. In fact, what motivated me in life all the time, no exception, all the time, from early as age 3, 4, because I was able to really consciously analyze things, understand and comprehend things at a very early age. So I went into meditation also naturally without any or much guidance at an early age. It's just that as a little child, I was not able to communicate well with others, specifically my family members. So they did not know what's going on inside me, in my world. But I could understand their pain and suffering. So if there's something that I know very well about human life, is the pain and suffering, inevitable pain and suffering, every moment, one way or the other. Because I experienced it very well from an early age, I had a massive motivation, drive, enthusiasm and determination to find a way out of suffering. Basically, how to not to avoid pain and suffering, because I realized at an early age, being a human being, right? This life, the whole thing what we call life, is bound to make us feel broken, hurt, damaged, disturbed. Every moment. There's only vulnerability in human existence. There's nothing that is given permanent, that can sustain. Nothing. Really. I realize this. And the level to which I could experience the pain and suffering, hurt, mental, physical, emotional, it was very heavy. I was drawn to find a way as to how to be happy consistently, right? How to be happy independent of people and things and external conditions. If you had met my parents or family members who are not close to me, living with me now, of course, they are far away, one thing they would tell about me, or if at all as JayaShri, I'm referring to Jayamini Samaratunga and her life story. There's one thing I remember, something really significant about my childhood. And even as a growing adult, young adult, and thereafter as a fully grown-up woman, young woman, I remember one thing. It's very significant notice. Right? I noticed that about myself, is that I was a very unhappy child. I was sad most of the time. I was hurt for every little thing. And the pain and hurt and suffering was very intense. I did not know how to communicate that this misunderstanding about life or understanding about life, that pain to my loved ones. They only saw the symptom. That was me crying all the time. Like every day I would cry. Every day. No exaggeration. Every day, for one reason or the other, I would cry. And those of you who know me closely know my life story to a great extent. It's not a secret, right? I was a very sick child as well. From an early age, I would have had life situations which would have killed me. I mean, basically ended my life, physical life. Many occasions. There were many occasions I was really critically, terminally ill. So strangely, miraculously, I survived. I survived in all occasions. So because I've gone through so much of mental trauma and physical discomfort, around age 28 or so, I realized that my trauma and physical vulnerability or physical weakness is actually my divine gift. I realized it only at that age. I did not realize it earlier. My brain could comprehend this whole life experience in summary, filled with a lot of trauma and hurt and suffering. Of course, also a lot of triumphant achievements as well. But my achievements, let's say academically or financially, all those things were like secondary to the amount of physical and mental and emotional suffering that I had to go through. So at age 26, 27, that time, I would say 26, I was able to find out my life purpose, thanks to an episode of depression. Thanks to that, I did not know, or there was no opportunity for me to find out how strong I am, how strong I was, if it was not for those moments of truth. The very experience made me feel that I'm weak and I'm bad, my karma must be very bad because I'm hurting continuously with all achievements, with all the love, right? I was continuously hurting. Then I realized how strong I am. I realized what a gift life has given me. How miraculously I could heal my body. Because when I was 25, 26, 27, that around 3 years time period, that particular time period of my life, I was taken to a doctor, medical doctor, pretty much every month. There were physical symptoms about extreme discomforts about every area of my body. And so much of suffocation. But I was not sick. Strangely, I was not sick. So there are two special moments that comes to my mind as I'm talking to you my life story, so that you can relate to me rather than just listening to a lecture. You can understand me as a human being, right? I remember two specific experiences. So when I was going through depression, and it was really terrible, I was taken to a psychologist at that time. And in front of him, I was seated in front of him. He was quite a known psychologist that time in Sri Lanka. And a senior person, quite a known person. While I was seated in front of him, I felt totally helpless and alone. I felt so lonely. So my family was there, my husband that time was there, so everyone was trying to help. But I was as if in a place, in this dark corner, that I don't know if anyone can help me. They feel far away from me, I feel far away from them. It was extremely painful, so painful for a young woman of age 26. And also very egoistic at that time, Jamini, because she was an achiever. She set her mind on something, she achieved. Her very name, Jamini, is winning gem, right? So it's all about achieving things. And everything she set her mind to, she achieved, but there was no happiness. She was deeply disappointed. And that moment, I remember she was asking this question, right? This interesting question was there in her mind. If I'm going through this kind of pain, this is terrible. This pain is terrible. How many women out there must be going through the same or worse? That was the only thing that was running in my head. I did not hear anything my psychologist said, right? I can't remember a thing. I'm in a different world. They're just talking to me. Nothing is processing. But it's as if, let's say, those who believe in God, right? As it was talking to my ear. It's my own voice, own inner voice. Very clear, crystal clear. If I'm going through this pain, I know how bad this is. How many women out there must be going through the same or worse? Next thought was, I know the pain. I really know the pain. I know it's like, let's say, referring to the story of Jesus, right? He knew the pain in the cross. No one else knew. And he chose it to compensate for everyone's sins. That's what the story says. So, and referring to Gautama Buddha's story, when he saw the sick man, the dying man, the old man, right, as a young prince traveling around the city, have never seen such things. It hit him so hard, like he got identified with that pain. And in my story, I went to that extreme of pain that while living, you don't know why you are living, right? You are alive, but it's as if you are dead, right? A terrible place to be. In fact, that is the reason why I became a psychologist and a healer and a coach, right? Otherwise, those who know me know the amount of qualifications I have in other areas of subjects. At that time, I could have I was earning a very big salary, doing a very, recognized job in a recognized organization as a manager. But none of that mattered. I made a decision. Because my second thought in that moment was, okay, I know the pain. I'm going to do something about it. That mission still continues. That became my life purpose and livelihood too. So I committed totally to my life purpose. I surrendered, gave up the job. I finally ended up all the things that really did not add value to my life. I had the courage to let go of all that and found that place, right? Found that place where your home, you can really be at peace with yourself. So I wanted to tell that story. I'm still alive to tell the story. And again, those of you know me for some time. And in 2019, November, exactly 2 years back, there was a moment of death. And that was really the moment for me to leave this world after a meditation retreat. And I knew I don't come back as Jayamini. And I knew it for a fact. So I was leaving my body. But that moment, another realization suddenly dawned in my awareness that I can persevere. I can persevere and I can bounce back to life. But definitely I know when I bounce back to life, it's not Jayamini. It's the same body, but that's a new identity. So in that moment where I was about to leave the body, I bounced back to life and declared my new name. That is my spiritual name, JayaShri Maathaa. So that's the background story for anyone new joining me, connecting with me. So I hope you will reflect on these ideas and relate to me as a human being and know that it's possible for you to find that sustainable peace and harmony during this lifetime, right? And be really healthy, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. It's a progressive journey. It's not a one-day affair. But greatest gifts in life is made available to those who are daring, those who are fearless, those who are ready to let go, right? Those who are ready to jump into the unknown. So 17 years ago when I left the sales manager job at Singapore Airlines, I didn't have a job. I knew even at that time my relationship is going to come to an end. I knew it. But I followed my heart. I've totally followed my instinct. I understand this is not easy for many women. I don't know about Westerners, but it's quite difficult for Sri Lankan women. But I did it. It's hard for many women and men both to let go of their identities. So-and-so's daughter, so-and-so's mother, so-and-so's sister, brother, child, spouse. But when we are about to die, or when we die, we have to let go of all that. Totally. So I invite people to live in peace rather than rest in peace. It's possible. But in order to do that, right, in order to do what I did, and that's why I can talk about it. I often tell people there's nothing that I can teach that I don't know. It's not from a book, but from one book that is my life book, like my life. So right now I'm living life in this physical body as an observer. I wonder how many of you can understand that concept, but someday you will understand this. You can live in a body, but without being the body. You use it just like a vessel or a vehicle. The more you do that, easily you can train yourself to be happy. Easily you can heal your physical body if you choose to. So I know what it means to die and the whole experience of death. All I can tell people is that it's not a bad thing. People celebrate birth. Some people live life celebrationally every day, like living celebrationally with whatever they have. Their life is a celebration with the things they like or without the things they like. Being healthy also celebrational. Let's say this person is not very healthy, some going through some physical discomfort, still you can live celebrationally. And death certainly can be celebrational. On the session 1 itself, I like to openly talk about death. Very many people fear. But without embracing death, you cannot live life. You cannot live life fully. You got to embrace death every moment. Then miracles happen. Miraculously, you can bounce back to life even if you were terminally ill. You can heal cancer, you can heal anything. So, intention of these sessions is to fundamentally enlighten you. How do I choose to do that? Like, what is my method? So every session, basically in each and every one of these sessions, I'll be sharing some thought processes. I'll be sharing some thought processes. In simple words, I'll be sharing ideas with you. I'm sure most of you have heard them or read about them, maybe, or maybe it's the first time you're hearing them. Either way, when you hear these ideas or thought processes, and when you have heard it, they become like seeds of consciousness in your mind. They become seeds. Now we are thinking of nurturing a beautiful garden. So today I went out to buy some grocery, and on our way back we bought some beautiful rose plants. I was talking first thing in the morning that I wanted some rose plants, and I found exactly the same. And we brought them home, we nurtured them, we planted them, and of course we are going to nurture them. So if you want to bring about a change in your life, you got to plant some new thought processes in your awareness. These new thought processes will come to you through a most rightful friend. That's the terminology. A friend is someone who's wanting the best for you, who's expecting your well-being, who wants you to have the best things in life, just like he or she is having. So in Buddhism, we relate to this interesting terminology called Sat Purusa. Sat means the most rightful or the good person, a good person, right? So most rightful friend is Sat Purusa, means the person. So for any human being, if they want a positive change in their life, they need new thought processes in their head planted. And those thought processes should grow into big trees. Like you must grow a beautiful garden of roses in your mind. Then your life will begin to become a garden. Maybe a medicinal herbal garden, or lots of fruits and vegetables, or flowers. That's exactly what happens in our mind. Initially, it's just a seed of thought. Situvili bijayak. And then it is going to grow over a period of time. And then bear fruits. So if you want fruits and new crops and flowers from your garden, you can't ignore it. You have to nurture it. So today and every session like this, I'm going to share 5 key thought processes. They are like keys, right? To enter into a special place, you need a key. You need the access code. So, likewise, I'll be sharing in every session these access codes or keys. They are new thought processes. And you have to nurture them for a week. So my plan was to help you bring a permanent shift in your consciousness, or a permanent shift in your awareness, and then finally a permanent shift in your life during this year. So 2022 is going to be a brand new year for you and for your loved ones. That's our plan. We cannot continue to look back and expect something new in the life. We have to consciously die to what is not needed and die to that old identity in order to embrace the new. So my plan is to dedicate this session to nurture or plant 5 thought processes in the garden of your mind. You're going to practice nurturing these thoughts for 1 whole week. That's our plan. 1 whole week, you're committing yourself to continuously remind these thoughts. So how do we nurture these thoughts? We continuously remind. So there's a Buddhist practice. It's also a terminology that comes in meditation, that නිරතුරුව සිහිපත් කරනවා. So you quite often remind yourself these thought processes and continuously reflect on them. You put it on a high priority. As much as you eat, sleep, clean, do all that, whatever you do in your mind, others cannot see and hear, but you can hear your own thoughts. So you're going to continuously nurture these thoughts in the garden of your mind. That's our plan. This week, so essentially I'm going to use a tripart model to help you create a happy, healthy life. Very many people are interested in losing weight, losing fat, looking good, etc. And to, of course, cure diseases. Very many people are interested in that. But with years of research and practice, what I have realized is that, you can even go for 3 days fast, water fast, right? Or 24-hour fast, which we do every week. And generally we do 16-hour fast. Every day we do a 16-hour fast. So essentially we eat only 2 meals. If you just do that, if you reduce the amount of calories you take in, you can reduce your body weight. The fat percentage will automatically go down, especially if you are very active. And if you restrict extremely your diet, you can lose weight. And hopefully, especially through fasting, you can heal certain sicknesses to a level they are permanent. But including myself in the past, I know how easily we bounce back to unhealthy eating. We bounce back to, after a diet, so to say, after a particular time, we bounce back to the same old habits. That is because many people do not crack the mind element. So today's session, I dedicate to help you bring about a stable, a permanent positive shift in your mind. What do you mean by mind? In simple words, it's a big word, but in simple words, this week we are going to nurture, plant and nurture consciously some thought processes. Before we talk about how to heal the body on a physical level through certain foods, through fasting, by not eating certain foods and certain lifestyle changes and habits, right? So with my own life experiences, right, all I know is that when we are unhappy, we go into all wrong foods, wrong relationships, every dysfunctional behavior. So I firmly believe the foundation lies in getting our mindset right. I firmly believe that. And that is my experience too. I cannot teach anyone what I don't know. So let's get the mind element sorted out this week. My invitation for all of you is to commit this whole week, coming week, until we meet again next Saturday, where I will be talking about some specific ideas, tools and techniques about physical health, as in how to get the balance in your body and brain, like physically the brain, right? To a level, if you listen carefully, make notes and diligently apply them, you might experience some significant results within a week. And if you are an extremely motivated, determined, committed person, you can experience huge transformation within a month or 2. And remember, I'm there to help. So specific questions, please feel free to drop in to this Healing Sri Lanka page, or those of you who are friends with me on Facebook, you can drop a personal message. I'm there to help you create and have what I have. which is intangible, but that is the ultimate gift you have in the moment of death. When you're departing from this world, there's only one thing you're taking with you. That is whatever you have trained your mind to be. If you have trained yourself to be a certain way, you will have a celebrational smile on your face every moment. Okay? So that's our plan. Let's talk about those specific thought processes. Number one. The number one thought process I want to plant as a seed of thought in your awareness is whatever happens in life, it is happening only for good. Whatever is happening, it is happening for good. How many of you can really think and feel like that in your life? Huh? How many of you can really say, yes, of course? What do you mean? I would say, whatever that is happening, in other words, there's only good in life. I remember during that time, many, many years ago, that I had to go through really like a complete destruction in my life, right? With all the accomplishments and achievements, I was falling apart. My life was falling apart. I think I found myself. Life was falling apart. Or what I thought as life was falling apart. So I was lecturing in a private campus. And so I'm going through this depression. But with all that, I'm somehow battling through. Because I have learned NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Now that is the subject I learned to help myself many years ago. Then I got into Reiki. So we are teaching those subjects even at present and help people heal, evolve and become enlightened. So I was persevering, I was doing all my NLP and somehow battling through life, okay? And so I go to university. I was a lecturer in the business faculty. And life is in a mess, real mess, right? But those days I used to put all the makeup, dress up very well, and you put up the mask, right? You put this nice mask on, you hide all your darkness, wounds and damages, concealers, not physically, right? But even otherwise, and then you pull yourself to work. So there was this senior lecturer. He was actually the business faculty head. One day he stopped me before I enter into the faculty room on the corridor. And I was carrying all my bags, the books, the files, right? As a lecturer, university lecturer, you carry a lot of books. And it's heavy. It's heavy with all the other psychological weight also on your head, right? He stopped me and he said, wait, John, I have something to talk to you. I was not worried because I did a fairly good job, I believe. And he said, I have something to ask you. You have to be honest with me and tell me the truth. He said, every morning we greet. We say, good morning, how are you? I mean, that's a normal thing, right? Good morning, how are you? Apparently, according to him, every day I used to tell, good morning, and the answer to how are you was brilliant. So I was not even aware. I was not conscious about it. But for him, he said we are very critical, analytical, but also very different guy. So he asked me, every day you say brilliant. Is that true? Right? I was like, what do you mean? For a moment, because I never remember, right? I was not conscious that I'm saying this. And I stopped and told him these words. I remember me telling these words. I said, my life situation sucks, right? My life situation is a real disaster. But I want to feel brilliant. I choose brilliance. Every day, in every way, life was getting better. Amidst all odds. Life, or those who believe in God, was testing me day in and out. And it was only strengthening my faith, my truth, my light. Every time you see your darkness, or someone else's darkness, or the government's darkness, or the world's darkness, every time you perceive darkness in yourself or others, say thank you. Silently or loudly, say thank you. You are a superhuman being if you can say, I bless you or I love you. Darkness only reminds how powerful we are. How powerful we are. How powerful creators we can become. So, reminding you the first thought process. Please nurture it every day. Whatever happens in life, it happens only for good. In other words, there's only good in life. Birth is celebrational, living is celebrational, death is also celebrational. No, maybe not for the people who are alive, but certainly for those who choose to go to the other side. How do I know? Because I've gone and come back. So, it's a nice place. And I believe people like us who go there and come back, I think we are the messengers, because we can tell people heaven is not on the other side of the veil. Heaven is right now, right here. You have to just stop thinking otherwise. Okay? So, as you hear these thoughts, I know, if not all, some of you must be resisting that thought. Oh, come on, JayaShri, what do you mean? I don't relate to that idea. You don't know what I'm going through in my life. I say, yes, I do. Even if I don't, you have a choice. So if any one of you had resistance towards that thought process, that is because you are identified with debris. Debris and dirt and garbage in your awareness or in your mind. You are too identified those broken stories or stories about broken stuff in your life. That's why you have resistance towards that. So let me tell you. So when I was planting my rose plants this morning, I had to touch very ugly black color, thick, smelly fertilizer and soil. In fact, I make my own compost at home, most of it. I was touching all of it bare hand. It was smelly. They were not nice like roses, but that was the fertilizer. So, if you had resistance towards that thought process, I say congratulations, thank you, and I love you. Recognize the resistance. Know that is not you. That's not you who's resisting. No, 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 no. It's that part of yourself, or that part of the mind, not the self, part of the mind who believes in old, painful, borrowed stories. Usually family karma, usually ancestral karma. Your mother or father used to believe like that. You are unconsciously believing the same about money, about relationship, about love, about health, about wealth, about the world, about politics. It's ancestral wounds. So it's not your resisting, it's the part of the mind. So over the weeks, you will understand and you will be able to not just understand. We want people to master things, not just borrowed knowledge, but a first-hand experience in life. You'll be able to master these thoughts and one day become a teacher to those of you who connect with you. Be that most rightful friend who hand over the seeds of thoughts to the next generation of awakening souls. Okay? So you will understand how to convert the debris or garbage which is in your own mind, creates fear, doubt, resistance. You will understand how to translate that energy and thoughts as fertilizer. So you are not afraid of darkness. You are courageous. You only have a smile on your face. And you say, give it to me. When life tests you, you say, give it to me. That's what I used to do. Even now, if contrast comes in life, I say, yeah. Part of me goes like, yes. Because that's an opportunity for me to find out something new about human consciousness, master it, and share with the world. I love to teach. I can be silent for months. I can be silent, not talk, and just be happy with myself. But it feels so nice to share when the calling is there. So second thought process, you ready? Second thought process. Take a good long deep breath. Release. All right? Do you understand that when you breathe in, there's one neurological reaction and a certain neurochemistry that happens in your brain? And when you breathe out, it's completely different. So it's very important we breathe intentionally. Like that. So second thought process. Nothing is happening to me. Okay? Nothing is happening to me. Everything is happening for me. To live a happy, healthy life. You cannot take anything personally. Really. You know, when we teach NLP and we talk about presuppositions, unconscious mind prime directives, or how the unconscious mind works, one nature of your unconscious mind, or some say subconscious mind, is that it takes things personally. Let's say you're with your friend or spouse or boss or child or any other human being that you are in close connection with, this person raised the voice and the person is angry and, says something. Maybe even a bad word, bad tone according to you. Something's really terrifying. You feel you don't feel so good hearing those words. And you judge the person, also the situation, because you really think this person is trying to harm you or hurt you. Or this person is trying to do something bad to me. Whereas existentially, what's happening is there's a human being whose neurochemistry, the whole nervous system has gone for a whack, right? The hormones have gone out of whack. And there's complete imbalance in a system. As a result of that imbalance, this person is screaming or speaking loudly or angrily, which is a very distorted word. But speaking loudly is very factual. It's truth. But let's say someone speaking angrily, it's our perception about it. The truth is that, when small children, they scream and shout, they are actually asking for help, right? Let's say I'm in danger right now. I won't talk so smoothly and help. I will scream, right? I will put all my life force energy to scream and get help. So it's very existential. So most of the time when people are screaming, crying, they're essentially asking for help. So nature of your subconscious mind to take things personally. So it is that this person is shouting at me. This person said all those bad things to, criticize me or put me down, abuse me. Existentially, someone is totally out of whack, out of balance, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And essentially has nothing to do with you, but because you have karmic patterns, as in previous programming of getting identified with such behaviors, you respond as a victim. As long as you feel, think and feel and act, think, feel and act, think, feel and act as a victim in life, you cannot be happy nor healthy. Yeah. So I was talking earlier, people have short-term, let's say, diet plans, exercise regimes, etc. But after a while, they get back into the old dysfunctional eating habits because they haven't got their mindset right. Same cause and effect will take place. Unless you change the cause, the effect is not changed. So it's only temporary restriction. I rather encourage people to have lifestyle changes which actually make permanent healing, not just temporary satisfaction in terms of certain symptoms going away and certain weight loss, etc. Okay? So the second thought process, I remind you in case if you have forgotten, nothing is happening to me, everything is happening for me, as in not to take anything personally. You really have to train yourself over the week, reminding these thoughts again and again and again and again, first thing in the morning, during the day, at night, and in those moments of truth where life is testing you or where God is testing you, right? You have to remind yourself of those thought processes. Now, next thought process I like to share with you today is happiness is addictive. Yeah, I was addicted to happiness continuously, and now I don't call it addiction. Yes, it's not, I'm forcefully doing it. It's natural for me to be happy now. But until such time, it was just like any addiction. Happiness is an addiction because happiness is a certain state of mind and a state of being and a state of energy in your body, right? It's a chemistry. It's a hormonal shift. Maybe you have heard about those happy hormones. Yeah, there are things called happy hormones. Let's say dopamine, which is mostly not happy but pleasure hormone. But let's say serotonin, which secretes a lot when you're in meditation, and especially when you go into a samadhi. Dopamine, of course, is secreted mostly when you achieve something, also when you exercise, also when you find satisfaction and pleasure through physical activities like, let's say, sex or eating certain foods, right? Say there's something I like, and when I get motivated, I go and somehow grab it, eat it, and it secretes that pleasure hormone. It's a process, right? Because even to go and get that activity done, you need some energy. So remember, of course, I have done a training before about depression, in that I talk about this in detail. People who are getting hooked up to this dopamine rush are also bound to suffer later on through depression or stress, because before dopamine is created in your brain, there is another hormone that creates, that is called norepinephrine, which is actually cortisol or stress hormone. Because without stress, you won't act on something. You need energy to act on something, right? So people do not understand, especially those who are addicted to success, right? Like I used to be addicted to success. So one after the other, one qualification after another, one achievement after another, and finally the threshold is so high, even after a PhD or I don't know, I mean so many so-called qualifications, I couldn't be really happy. I was wondering, what's going on? Wait a minute, right? Let me take a break. Like what's going on here? It's just like any other addiction, as even substance addiction, right? Once you get used to be happy based on a certain condition, not only substances, condition, food and sex and relationships, achievements in sports, everything, whatever it is, when you get conditioned, your satisfaction of life and happiness is conditioned, you're really in a dangerous situation. It doesn't mean you shouldn't achieve. Come on, right? We achieve so many things, even at present in our life, but effortlessly. That's a different science, which we will talk later on when you progress from this to the next. For the moment, remember that not to take things personally, okay? Like you intentionally do this week. So, and happiness is addictive, so is unhappiness. I think I chose to be this kind of a woman. I intentionally created and still in the process of recreating identity as a woman and a Sri Lankan woman, completely challenging the cultural norms, going against all so-called expected norms, how a woman should be, etc. And relationship with men and to men. I'm really redefining my identity. I did it because I saw the danger of becoming a woman like my mother. Really, with all due respect and loads of love, I'm saying this to all the women in my ancestry. In fact, that is exactly what they want. They don't want me to suffer either, but they suffered continuously in their marriage with children. I don't know about without children. I chose not to. I chose to become a cosmic mother. Generation after generation, this victim mindset is handed over. And women, essentially, throughout the world, I don't find an exception to Sri Lanka or Asia, but maybe it is more here. Women are addicted to suffering. Women are addicted to unhappiness. To a level, if they are given the situation to be happy, they don't know what it is. Their whole identity is associated with unhappiness. That is the only hormone that secretes in their brain and the body. In Sinhala, there's a thing we say, hingannage tuale. That is a beggar's wound. It's like a beggar's wound. So if you feel like a beggar or a victim in life, your only identification that gives you money and sustenance is your wound, right? So you will never heal your wound because you have identification with it. You don't know any other life. It happened to me too. But fortunately for me, life kicked me hard, like really kicked me, almost killed me. Maybe I was so stupid, really, stupid is not a word. Maybe because if I was stupid, I won't be able to get so many qualifications and etc., right? But maybe I was so ignorant and naive. I did not know even things that happened to me as a young woman. I mean, certain things that happened to me in relationships and all that. I was so naive. So in the recent past, I started saying out loud, this human existence is so interesting. Human life on earth, every day I'm learning something brand new about what it means to be a human being. Like, I never knew as to even certain things as to what happened. But apparently so many bad things were happening. I did not know. Which is a good thing, right? When you don't know, right? You are blissfully ignorant. It's like, I have another story. I don't mind sharing it today. I went to one of the known campuses or universities here in Sri Lanka after getting very good marks and grades for advanced level. So first year is the ragging year, but I never allowed anyone to rag me. I was against it. So I walk away from raggers. I didn't care. Fortunately, I was not killed. Usually there are students sometimes are killed, tortured during this rag season. But something in me was so strong that they dare try to harm, or they thought of harming, but maybe I was strong. Maybe I was protected by my guardian angels. That's what I think. So there was one occasion we were getting ready for an English day, like a concert kind of thing, during the first year. And I never knew in the university system. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I was ignorant. I was so naive. I did not know certain things and even rules, because one thing, rules can't control me, but I do respect the conditions. Anyhow, Apparently girls can't wear shorts in our Sri Lankan universities, but you can wear short dresses but not shorts. And I was wearing shorts that day, not because of anything else. It was not shorts, actually it was 3/4. Mainly because I was helping. I was one of the organizers, and I was helping setting up the stage, organizing things in the hall, right, for next day's concert. So I was very busy. I was fully occupied. And I was even climbing trees to pick flowers or pluck flowers, right? And suddenly, from a different faculty, a group of guys had come in, intervened, right? And they were vehemently resisting my presence in the university because I'm wearing, my dress code is not appropriate. And I did not know. I can hear loud voices behind me. I was just still doing decorations. One of my kind friends, no one was daring also to come up to me and tell me the thing, you know. They were trying to sort it out somewhere. I was only focusing on what mattered, right? But this girl fortunately came, because otherwise it would have been a huge conflict between two departments. Anyway, in our department, which is accountancy, we don't have ragging, we don't allow, but outsiders, we are in the faculty, so we get influenced. So this girl came up to me and told me, Jamini, we have to go out. Even in the moment when she was telling me as to, you know, like you have to go out, I did not understand, because in my head I was only thinking about the work. Long story short, so she walked me up to the gate. I had to go out. I didn't even carry my belongings. Maybe I had the key to the boarding place that I was living nearby. That moment she told me this is the reason. And I remember hundreds of guys coming behind us, and until I was, you know, chased out of the gate, saying certain words. Those of you Sri Lankans know what I mean, right? Know what I say, right? That is basically filthy words, right? So they're like so much of noise from behind, around hundreds of guys, and just to chase me out of the campus and saying those filthy words. Fortunately, my brain was in a place where even if I hear them, I don't understand. So I did not process it. You know what I did? I went out. Within 5 to 10 minutes, I changed my clothes to the most easiest thing I could find, like a long skirt. I returned to the campus. Happily. It didn't take my attention away from what mattered. And I remember, this is Japura, right? So there are these, you know, those kind of seating areas either side of the main road. When I was coming in 5 to 10 minutes, I was back in the campus. These guys were still seated, and I'm walking gracefully. They can't even believe this, because usually if a girl is abused like that, they won't even return for a month or week, I don't know. So they were just disappearing when they saw me. They couldn't believe. And I came inside the hall, finished all the work. Next day, I was on stage. Of course, wearing much shorter dress and doing comparing, right? So that's a little story just to tell when you're addicted to happiness, right? And when you don't take things personally, those insects and basically insects can't come and harm your garden of flowers. The fourth thought process I want to share with you today is find happiness in small things. Make it a daily practice or habit. Every morning when I wake up, the first thing that I find happiness, true connection with is the sun, morning sun, which we all take for granted. But without the sun and that energy, we cannot even think of having life on earth. Really appreciate the air. And I often notice tiny flowers in my garden, which are usually considered as just weeds, or basically wild flowers or wild trees. They are not like roses or orchids or jasmines. They are totally ignored. They're somewhere in a pot, some weeds, but in that weed there are tiny flowers. So beautiful, so graceful. If you pay attention to the tiny little things, the decorations on your plate, decorations in your cup, the fine wrinkles of your partner, the eye color of your baby, or the shadows of a cat fur, seemingly insignificant things. Make it a practice to appreciate those things. So that's a thought process as well as a practice that I encourage you to use for the next week. Okay, find happiness in small things. And the last thought process I want to share with you today, it's a bit philosophical, but you have digested enough. Thank you very much for being with me. This is a big one. You ready? Whatever you think about yourself, okay? Maybe you are having a lot of good thoughts about yourself, like positive stuff about yourself. I'm a good person. Maybe you're thinking, I'm a good person, right? You have good positive thoughts about yourself. Or maybe certain days, or generally in certain times of your life, you're having bad thoughts or negative thoughts about yourself. Not so nice. In either situation, if you want to be happy and healthy and to really genuinely, internally, unconditionally be happy and healthy, you have to let go of both of those identifications of good and bad. Just this morning it happened to me in the supermarket. Very interesting. Let's say you have all good thoughts about yourself. I'm a good person. I'm a spiritual person. I'm a very joyful person. I'm energetic. I'm a kind person. You may have all those identities about yourself. And let me tell you, there will be at least one person who is going to challenge you about what you believe about yourself, one way or the other. For parents, most of the time, their children keep challenging. For husbands, their wife going to challenge them. For wives, their husband's going to challenge. For bosses, their subordinates. And for subordinates, for their bosses. Right? Usually, if you have this strong identification about yourself and being good, remember, there will always be someone who's going to challenge you to the core. Just remember that, that's it. So we hear the story of Gautama the Buddha, his own disciple and cousin, who has become a monk as well in his sasana, trying to kill him. We hear the same story when it comes to Jesus. His own disciple betrayed him. So both of these great teachers were great. They were not just good, they were great. But there was always completely contrasting character coming into the picture and challenging. So you cannot be happy in life if you get so strongly held on to those identities that you have borrowed from your family. Maybe your parents have embedded those ideas into your head, or your society, teachers, right? Sometimes embed these ideas. So if someone come and challenge it, you feel shaken at your root. Okay? So your happiness is gone, because it was all based on those ideas that you thought about self as good. Let's say I meet quite often the other type of people also, especially as a coach and a therapist, right? I used to meet these people often. That is, those people who are having really like whole lot of negative ideas about themselves. Like in a given moment, especially let's say someone's going through depression, they don't have good self-concept or self-idea, and they continuously feel very critical about themselves. They feel bad about themselves. And there will always be people in your life, if you have such negative ideas about yourself, right? There will always be one or many people telling or believing otherwise about you. There will always be people saying how wonderful you are, how good you are, how beautiful you are, how kind and how benevolent and how strong, etc. But you will not trust them. You will not trust, because your identification is strong. Similarly, if you are having all good ideas about yourself and someone is against that, you will resist, you won't trust them. In both situations, happiness is not possible, because in both situations, your identity is associated with ideas about yourself, and in both extremes, good and bad. So this week, I encourage and invite you to practice, of course, not to have negative thoughts. No, not to have positive thoughts about yourself. That's not what I'm saying. To be fully aware of those identities you have about yourself, and to stay in the middle. Just be aware that I'm thinking about myself like this, and any moment someone challenges it in a so-called good way, or in a detrimental or harmful, painful way, you won't shake. You are just in the middle. It won't disturb your mind. Be very mindful of that. Because all those identifications, good and bad, again, we have borrowed from our parents and social conditioning. So with that, I'm going to wrap up today's session. Thank you very much for connecting with me, tuning with me, and being with me all this while. So if you have missed the full 1.5 hour duration session, make sure you come back and remind yourself of these thought processes and live with that awareness for the rest of the week. In the coming week, I'll be sharing more technical, like specific tools and techniques, approaches and strategies that you can adopt in a consistent manner and experience a physical transformation, losing weight, sleeping better, healing a particular physical condition, etc. All right? So thank you very much. Thank you very much for connecting with me. And feel free to drop in any specific messages you may have for me, either to Healing Sri Lanka Facebook page via Messenger, or if you are friends with me on Facebook, drop a message. Much love and blessings to all. JayaShri